Hi kids! Hello parents! Thank you for joining me for our online Sunday Children's Ministry service. I'm sad that we're not able to meet together in person to worship, but there are always positive things to look forward to. For example, I am able to talk to you because of this amazing technology of my cell phone and my selfie stick that turns into a tripod, and we're able to worship with our parents, and that is something very special. Parents, I have sent you our children's worship bulletin through your email and katok, and if you've been following along, we have done the reading of God's Word, we have songs of praise, we had prayer by a child, and we have read today's scripture, and now we're at the message portion. And at this point, as if you're watching me, you should have watched the Holy Moly intro video. I hope you have done that. If not, feel free to pause this video and watch that one first, whichever way you want to. This is homemade worship. See, God is with us when we gather in His name and with faith. Nothing has to be perfect. We don't have to be perfect, and God is here with us. So without further ado, let's go right into the message. I hope you guys can see me very well because of my camera lens. Now, here's my question. Do you think I can see you very well with these glasses on? What do you think? What do you think? Probably not, right? And you're right, because on my sunglasses, I have these angry emoji paper stickers stuck on me, and all I see are hints of anger on the face of the emoji, and I can barely see you. Sometimes we go through life kind of like this because we're so angry, we're so sad, we're so mad that we're not able to see everything that is around us. There is a man in the Bible today who was just like this. He was so angry, he did not even know that he couldn't see. His name was Saul. Boys and girls, this is Saul. Saul was a man who was so devout. He was a Jew. He was a Pharisee. He was someone who studied the Holy Scriptures. And he was so angry because he thought that there were a bunch of people who were dishonoring God and making fun of God and doing all these wrong things. And the people that he was actually upset at were Christians. People like Stephen, he was a deacon who was preaching about Jesus to all the people. And Saul, over here, was incredibly angry. He thought that Jesus was a blasphemer. He believed that Jesus was pretending to be God, pretending to be the Son of God, and he was so upset. So he decided, in order to protect God's honor, I'm going to put an end to this Jesus and Jesus cult. And Saul did exactly that. He went around, and what he did was he found and captured all the Christians who were worshiping, and he locked them up. And when he did that, all the older Pharisees, all the people he looked up to, all the religious leaders said, "Oh, good job, Saul. Good job. You are an amazing person. Keep doing that." And that encouraged Saul to keep capturing Christians more and more. So he would go around, and he would just look for Christians, find them in their hiding, and arrest them all over the place. And he was so devout and passionate about arresting Christians, just like you and me, that he decided that he's going to go on a long way to Damascus, a town called Damascus, and arrest Christians hiding there. So he was on his way. He was so eager to capture all the Christians and thinking, God will be so happy at me. God will be so impressed that I'm doing this for His honor and His name. Jesus is a fake, and I'm going to catch all the Jesus followers. But something amazing happened. As Saul was walking and going to Damascus, suddenly a very, very bright light blinded his eyes. And he heard a voice from heaven saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And Saul was so confused. And people around him didn't even hear this. There were other people around him, and they just heard some loud noises, and they were really confused by this bright light out of nowhere. But Saul was able to hear God's voice. Saul fell, and Saul asked, "Who are you, Lord?" And it was none other than Jesus Christ. And remember, Jesus at this point was resurrected, and he had gone to heaven, but he appeared before Saul so that he can allow Saul to come to know him. Isn't that amazing? So Jesus says to him, why are you persecuting me? And Saul had no idea what was going on. So he said, Lord, who are you? Who are you? And in the Bible, on verse 5, this is what Saul says. Who are you, Lord? And then Jesus says, I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. Whoa. So the whole time, Saul thought that he knew God best, and he believed without a doubt that Jesus was a fake. But as he was going to Damascus to capture some Christians, Jesus appeared to him in his transfigured body, and he was saying, Saul, why are you doing this? You're persecuting me. And after that, Saul became speechless. In fact, he became blind for 3 days. His eyes were so blinded by this bright light that he couldn't see. And it was as if God was teaching Saul, you thought you could see, but you're actually blind. You don't know anything. You need me to help you see what is real and what is true. And God did exactly that. There was a man named Ananias who was a very faithful Christian, and he was praying to Jesus. He was praying in his room, asking God to protect Christians from people like Saul, who were persecuting Christians. But as he was praying, Jesus appeared to Ananias as well and said to Ananias, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, and I want you to lay your hands on him and bless him so that he can be healed. And Ananias was shocked because he had heard about Saul. Saul was the angry man who was capturing Christians. Saul was the angry man that they were all afraid of. So how could it be that Jesus is saying, go to Saul, and bless him and pray for him? And Ananias was so afraid. And Ananias said, Lord, do you know this guy Saul? He's really, really evil. Are you sure? And Jesus said, yes. And you have no idea what I'm going to do through this man, Saul. So Ananias went. He prayed for Saul. Saul was blinded and he was in so much pain. But when Ananias laid his hands on Saul and prayed for him, scale-like things, like fish scales, fell out of Saul's eyes. And Saul was able to see again. But here's the important thing. It wasn't just that Saul could see with his physical eyes. It was that he could see with his spiritual eyes as well. Now he knew that Jesus was truly the Son of God. Now he knew that Jesus truly is the Messiah. And finally, he was able to see without anger, without fear, and without sorrow. He knew that Jesus was God. Can you guess what Saul did after that? Well, first thing he did was he changed his name to Paul. That's right. This is our famous Apostle Paul who wrote the many letters in the New Testament. Here's an important thing. The name Saul, as I showed you earlier, has a special meaning. It means the great one. That's right. When you call yourself Saul, it means you are really great and you're going to be doing amazing things. And this is how Saul lived before he met Jesus. But after meeting Jesus, he was humbled. He realized that without God, he cannot even see straight. He cannot even make the right judgments on his own. And so he changed his name to Paul, which means a small one. So Saul has become humbled. And after that, Paul went around and he started to make peace with all the Christians that he persecuted. He was able to meet them, show them how much that he has been changed because of Jesus Christ, the risen Lord. And you know what? Paul was so changed that he lived his entire life sharing the gospel with all the people in the world. So he went around sharing the gospel, telling people about Jesus all over Europe. He was in chains a lot. He was arrested. He was persecuted. During our coronavirus lockdown situation, I'm going to encourage you guys to read the book of Philippians, which is something that the Apostle Paul wrote while he was arrested. But because of Paul, so many people came to know more about Jesus. Kids, when we are blinded by anger, or if we are blinded by sorrow, or if we are blinded by fear, we can't see anything. And you know what? Sometimes, because of all the stuff that are happening in the world, we can be very fearful, we could be angry, and we could be very sad. But the thing is, when we see with these blinders on, it's like having a filter over your eyes, then you just can't see. And we can't even see what God is doing. But you know what? When we ask God to take these blinders off, God is able to show us so much of the great things that He's doing. Think about the coronavirus. I know it is very scary because so many of us had so many things canceled, including church, school, sports, activities. Some of you had to cancel your birthday parties, and I'm so sorry about that. And when we think about all those things, those can make us very sad. And they can make us very angry. And even mad, right? But what I want to encourage you to do is put your sorrow, anger, and fear aside and ask God to show you what He wants you to see. Like, ask Him this. Say, God, I am really bored at home. I'm really sad that I don't get to see my friends. I don't get to go to church. I don't get to have a birthday party. God, why is this happening? Can you show me what I can do to make the most of this time that you have given me? And I will share with you something that God has been teaching me. I was learning that I have forgotten to spend a lot of time with my family. And with this coronavirus lockdown, I'm realizing, wow, I guess I could spend this time with my husband and my daughter Maddie and my son Ryder more. And also, here's another fun thing. I have always wanted to make a YouTube video like this, but I was never able to. I was either lazy or other things got in the way. This was just not one of those priorities, so I never did it. But now, because there's a need, because I have to talk to you guys and I want to reach out to you guys, even though we can't meet, now I am making this video finally. So, as you can see, even in the worst situations, there are good things that we can look forward to. And Saul is one of those examples. We may not be able to see what God is doing right now, but He has a clear plan, and His plans for us are good. And God is going to bring us out of this and so many other things that we'll go through in life. I pray that you will be blessed. I pray that you will spend time worshiping God together as a family, and that you would pray together and you would just grow together in love towards God and towards each other. I'm going to miss you guys though. So I look forward to the next video, and hopefully I will be able to see you guys very, very soon. God bless.